Years ago, he was madly in love with Ogechi. She was everything he prayed for: soft spoken, God fearing, beautiful, with a heart full of dreams. They talked about their future every night, planning a life where love would be the foundation of everything. But there was one thing Somadina didn't have then: money. He was just starting out in life, struggling to find his feet. He had the dreams, but not the means. And Ogechi, though deeply in love with him, was under pressure. Age wasn't on her side. Her family had begun reminding her that love wasn't enough. Time is running. Her mother often said, "You can't eat love." Somadina begged her to wait. "Give me one more year, Ogechi. Just one more year to stand as a man. Then I will marry you." He had pleaded with tears in his eyes. But time wasn't waiting, and neither could Ogechi. She cried bitterly the day she came to tell him she was getting married. It felt like a death sentence to them both. She loved him, but she couldn't risk losing her future to a man who was still struggling. Somadina watched her walk away with her white gown and broken heart, and he never really recovered. 2 years passed. Somadina finally found his feet. A breakthrough contract changed everything. He could now afford the wedding he had always dreamt of. He could buy a house. He could start a family. But what was success without the one person he had wanted to share it with? He searched for Ogechi, but she had vanished. No social media, no calls, no messages. He heard she had traveled abroad with her husband. It was in that period of loneliness that he met Winner. She was beautiful, no doubt, vibrant, kind, full of laughter, and always ready to pour out love. She worked as a nurse, and their paths crossed one evening. She was everything a man could want, except she wasn't Ogechi. Winner fell for him quickly. He was gentle, calm, respectful, the kind of man that made a woman feel safe. She didn't see that his heart was still buried in another woman's memory. Everyone told Somadina, "She's a good girl, don't let her go." He listened, he married her. But he didn't love her, not fully. In the early days of their marriage, Winner tried everything. She cooked his favorite meals, sent him sweet texts during work hours, prayed for him, made sure the house felt like a home. But Somadina remained distant, cold, polite, but distant. They could sit in the same room and not speak for hours. They could sleep in the same bed, yet feel miles apart. When she got pregnant with Dubem, their son, she thought maybe things would change. Maybe a baby would soften his heart. Maybe he would love at her differently. But even after Dubem was born, nothing changed. So she poured all her love into her son. Dubem became her reason to smile, her partner, her joy. They played together, prayed together, and laughed together while Somadina stayed locked up in his silence, trapped by the ghost of Ogechi. Years passed. Their house was quiet, not because there were no voices, but because there was no connection. They lived like flatmates, sharing space but not heart. One day, Winner stood in front of the mirror and didn't recognize herself. Her eyes looked tired, her heart felt empty. She asked herself a simple question: am I truly married, or am I just existing in someone's heart? That night, Tupim, while sleeping peacefully in his Spider Man pajamas, she sat Somadina down. Her voice was calm, but her words were heavy. Somadina, I have tried. I have loved you with everything I have. I have waited for you to see me, to love me, to want me. But I can't keep begging to be chosen. I am not your flatmate. I am your wife. And if I can't be loved here, I will love myself somewhere else. Somadina stared at her in silence, stunned. She stood up, walked into the bedroom, packed a small bag, carried Dubim, and left the house that night without shouting, without drama, without looking back. And for the first time, the house truly felt empty. The silence in the house was not deafening. Somadina sat alone at the dining table, staring at nothing. The absence was too loud. The laughter, the footsteps, the smell of fresh cooked okra soup gone. Gone with the only woman who truly stayed when he had nothing to offer but pain. He thought Winner would come back. Maybe after a few days. Maybe after she cooled off. She always did. But 2 weeks passed. Then a month. Then two. No calls. No messages. Just silence. For the first time, it hit him that Winner wasn't bluffing. She didn't leave out of anger. She left because she was tired of being invisible. And that realization broke something inside him. He started losing focus. He would dress up for work, only to sit in his car for hours doing nothing. The house became cold and strange, too clean, too quiet. Every item reminded him of what he had lost. Her scarf on the chair, her favorite coffee mug, Dubem's drawings. He missed them, not out of convenience, but out of regret. Mina had loved him with a kind of patience he didn't deserve. She carried his home on her back. She stood by him, even when he couldn't give her the one thing she truly desired, his heart. And now she was gone. Then one Sunday, he saw Ogechi. He had stopped by a supermarket after church to buy bread and milk. Just as he turned into the parking lot, he saw her, radiant, pregnant, laughing, her hand in the hand of a man who was clearly her husband. They looked so happy, so complete. His heart froze. She was no longer the girl he once begged to wait. She had moved on fully. As she turned and their eyes met, she smiled politely. There was no spark, no tears, no awkwardness, just kindness. It hit him like thunder. She had moved on long ago. All the while he had been holding on to her memory, destroying his own home. She had already built hers. That moment shattered the illusion. It wasn't love, it was obsession. That night, Somadina couldn't sleep. He sat on the floor, staring at nothing. His tears weren't just for his lost love, they were for his blindness, his foolishness, his pride. He remembered all the nights Winner tried to talk to him, and he shut her out. All the time she wore a new dress, hoping he would notice, but he didn't even look up. All the time she sat beside him, hungry for his affection, and he turned away. She had given him everything, and he had given her nothing in return. The next morning, He drove to her sister's house where he believed she was staying. When Winner opened the door and saw him, she froze. She didn't expect him to come. Not after all these months. Not after the silence. Somadina knelt on the floor, right there in front of the gate. He didn't care who was watching. I have failed you, he said, eyes filled with tears. I let the ghost of my past destroy the gifts right in front of me. You didn't deserve what I gave you. You didn't deserve that kind of cold love. But if you can look into your heart and find even a drop of mercy, I want my family back. Not out of guilt, not because I'm lonely, but because I finally see you. Wena stared at him, silent. Her heart ached. She had moved on emotionally. She had built peace in her own little world with Dubem. But the truth was, she still loved him. Not because he was perfect, but because she had seen the real man inside. The one now kneeling in front of her with nothing but truth in his eyes. Weeks later, she returned, not because of pressure, not because of pity, but because something in her heart whispered he had changed. And this time, Somadina showed up, not just as a husband, but as a man who was ready to love, deeply, fully, and intentionally. He made breakfast. He played with Dubem. He danced with Mina in the kitchen. He listened. He apologized when he failed. He wrote love notes. He prayed with his family. And slowly, the cracks began to fade. Their house became warm again, not just from heat, but from the love that now flowed freely. The house was no longer cold. It echoed with laughter, morning prayers, and the soft whispers of love. Somadina and Winner had found their rhythm again, not as flatmates, but as partners, lovers, and parents. Dubem would often giggle as they all danced in the living room after dinner. They held hands during evening walks, and Winner, for the first time in years, slept with her heart at peace, wrapped in the arms of a man who now chose her every day. It felt like heaven until temptation came knocking. Ogechi's world had shattered. Her husband died suddenly from a brief illness. One moment she was planning their next vacation. The next, she was standing at the graveside trying to hold her tears in front of strangers. To make things worse, a week after the burial, she lost her baby. A miscarriage in the middle of the night. Her body bleed, her heart bleed more. She was now alone. No child, no husband, no future that made sense. She stayed indoor for months, grieving, mourning, breaking. And one rainy evening, while flipping through her photo album, she stumbled on an old photo, her and Somadina, laughing, her heart twisted. He was the one man who ever truly saw her, and just like that, a flame reignited. At first, it was innocent. She sent him a message. Hi, Somadina. I heard you got married. I'm so sorry I couldn't attend. How is life treating you? He responded politely, but cautiously. Thank you, Ogechi. I'm sorry about your loss. I pray God strengthens you. I'm fine. My wife and son are doing well. She smiled sadly. The wife and son part stabbed her gently, but grief has a strange way of rewriting desires. Soon, the casual chats turned to phone calls. I think about you a lot, Somadina. She said one night. I know this sounds crazy, but you were the only man who ever made me feel truly loved. He paused. He could hear Dubem laughing in the background. Winner was folding clothes beside him. Ogechi, please, don't say that. Let's not cross that line. I'm just being honest, she whispered. I made a mistake choosing someone else. I lost everything. I can't lose you too, even if it's just your friendship. Please, don't push me away. And just like that, the storm began to gather. Winner noticed the change. Somadina started spending more time on his phone, more late night messages, more soft mode shifts. He became quieter again, more distracted. One afternoon, while cleaning the living room, she saw a name flashed across his screen. Ogechi. She froze. That name carried memories, wounds, and danger. Rina didn't say a word, not yet, but her heart sank. That night, as he came to bed, she asked calmly, are you happy with me? He looked confused. Of course I am. Why would you ask that? Because sometimes it feels like your heart is drifting again, and I'm not sure I'm strong enough to survive losing you twice. Those words cut through him like a sword. He knew what he was doing. Maybe he hadn't physically crossed the line, but emotionally, he had started dancing around it. And for what? A ghost of a love that didn't survive the fire. The next day, he drove to a quiet place by the lake, sat in his car, and asked himself a hard question. Why am I talking to Ogechi again? The answer wasn't love. It was guilt, pity, regret, but not love. His heart now belongs to Winner and to Bim, the woman who stayed, the woman who endured, the woman who reminded him of who he was when he had forgotten. He picked up his phone and typed, Ogechi, I'm sorry, but I can't continue this. I pray you heal, but I won't be part of your comfort. I have a wife who loves me, and I love her. Please respect that. And with that, he blocked her. That night, he knelt beside Winner's bed, took her hand, and said, thank you for seeing me, even when I was blind. I almost fell again, not because I don't love you, but because I forgot to guide what God gave me. Forgive me. Tears streamed down her face, not out of pain. I didn't fight for you just to lose you to a memory, she whispered. I'm glad you came back to me again. From a distance, Ogechi watched them, Somadina and Winner, laughing, holding hands, playing with Tubem. They looked perfect, happy, whole, and it burned her. The same Somadina who once wrote her poems now looked at another woman with the eyes she used to know. The same Somadina she had loved in her youth now kissed another woman's forehead as if it was the most natural thing in the world. Ogechi's heart twisted each time she saw a new photo on social media. She started telling herself lies. It should have been me. If she wasn't in the picture, Somadina would come back. He still loves me. He just doesn't know it yet. Her obsession deepened into something darker. She no longer cried for her husband or the baby she lost. Her grief mutated into envy. Her loneliness fermented into madness. And slowly, she started planning. Ogechi began stalking Winner. At first, it was small. She watched her come and go. She memorized her routine like a script. Winner had no idea, but Ogechi told the story. She's always smiling, fake, pretending to be what I used to be. Somadina still loves me. She's the reason he can't see it. If she disappears, everything will return to how it should be. And that's when she decided Winner must go. She called a killer. His name was Efe. He was the kind of man who could make people disappear without noise. Ogechi met him through a cousin. They met in a rundown bar on a outskirts of town. I don't want blood everywhere. I just want her gone. Do you understand me? Efe raised an eyebrow. How gone? Permanently. He smiled, nodded, and collected the envelope. The plan was simple. Car brakes failure. No mess, no trace, no suspicion. But fate had other plans. It was a rainy Thursday evening. Rina has closed from work and was about to start her car when she noticed something strange. Her brake paddle felt loose. Something in her gut whispered, "Get out." She listened. She called the mechanic immediately. The mechanic arrived, checked, and his eyes widened. "Madam, somebody wants to kill you. Your brake line was cut clean. This is not an accident." Winner froze. "What? What did you just say?" "I say someone plans this. If you drive this car, you will not come back alive." Somadina was livid, shaking, terrified. They went straight to the police. A report was filed. CCTV footage from Winner's clinic parking lot revealed a suspicious figure loitering near the car. The man was caught 2 days later. Efe. Under interrogations, it didn't take long before he cracked. He confessed everything and then said the name. Ogechi. "She paid me. She said the woman was in her way. She wanted the husband back." It was early morning when police officers stormed Ogechi's apartment. She didn't even resist, just stared at the officer. "So this is how it ends?" she asked quietly. In the station, as she sat behind bars, she finally broke down, screamed, cried, slammed her fist against the wall. "I loved him. I loved him. She took him from me. She had no right to be happy while I was suffering alone." The female officer watched her, shook her head. "You weren't fighting for love, madam. You were drowning in bitterness." When Somadina told her Ogechi had been arrested, Winner sat quietly, staring at her hands. "I don't hate her," she said softly. "I pity her. A woman so empty, she tried to kill another to feel full again." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "But I'm tired, Somadina. Tired of fighting to breathe in a story I didn't ask to be part of." He held her hands tightly. "I almost lost you. Again. But this time, not by my foolishness, but by someone else's evil. And I won't take another day for granted." In prison, Ogechi wrote one last letter. She asked the police to deliver it to Somadina. "I don't know who I became. I let my pen poison me. I envied you because I saw in Winner what I could never become. Peace. I thought I loved you. But love doesn't destroy, it builds. I'm sorry. I hope your wife forgives me. I hope you never forget how fragile peace can be. Guide it always." She signed it with her full name and sobbed through the night. Somadina, Winner, and Dubem stood in church for Thanksgiving. Winner was pregnant again. Somadina knelt in tears as the choir sang, "See what the Lord has done. See what the Lord has done." The pastor smiled at the congregation and said, "When the devil comes for your joy, don't panic. Just stand and protect your peace." Winner looked at Somadina, touched her belly and whispered, "We won." Obsession is not love. Its pain dressed in desperation. Not every loss is meant to be restored. Some are lessons. Guide your peace. Sometimes your joy offends those who refuse to heal. Never allow unresolved grief to become a weapon. Evil plans may rise, but grace always wins. Thank you for watching this story. Hi, besties. What moral lesson did you learn from this story? Kindly share your thoughts with me in the comment section. Like this story. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you've not done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye.